All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, and welcome. We are glad to bring to you a special training class today. And we're bringing this to you due to the incidents that have been occurring within the last several months. And our goal is to make you more prepared and aware and have some strategies that you guys can do if you're ever involved or in the middle of a mass shooting or active shooter. All right. So I want to welcome everybody. We are broadcasting this to Survive and Protect, all the Survive and Protect watchers. And we also broadcasting this to our people that learn on Norwood University. So we're on Norwood University on YouTube, and we also on Survive and Protect on YouTube all at the same time. We also might be on some other platforms, Facebook, maybe Twitch, and a couple, maybe one or two other YouTube channels, one of them being Live Events Now. So we are also on Live Events Now for those who are watching us from there. And again, this is active shooter preparedness, awareness, and survival tactics. All right. And so, yeah, let's begin, man. Let's get started with the class, okay? So what we're going to do is kind of give you a breakdown of what you can be expecting for this training. It's nothing physical. We're not going to do any physical moves. We're going to show you some slides and some videos and break some things down, some concepts and some ideas and strategies, if you will. All right. So again, I want to welcome everybody to this training class. All right. We're really excited. I'm excited to go on and do this because, like I said, I've been seeing too much over the years. And then we had some recent things. You guys might recall the Bondi Beach incident. And then I think there was an incident in Texas where some things were going down as well. And a whole host of other incidents that have been happening throughout the months in recent years. All right. Recent months and recent years. So I'm definitely hoping that you guys will get something out of this class and take something with you. You can always play these videos back. And if you need to pick up on a concept or remember something that was being said in this particular master class today, all right, this particular training class, all right. So with that being said, let's get started here, okay? Let me just move this out the way so you guys can actually see some things here. And just real quick, we're going to kind of briefly go over and let you guys see, what we're going to cover, all right? And so, yeah, let's pull this up on full screen. And yeah, so active shooter responses or mass shooting incidents. And real quick, just to kind of briefly go into some things, and we'll go into a little bit more detail here in a couple of minutes or so. So you got to understand the situation. All right. What is an active? We're going to go into what is an active shooter. We're going to talk about always know your exits and understand that events are unpredictable and they happen fast. All right. We're also going to let you know when law enforcement arrives, the things that you can do there, like stay calm, follow instructions, show you're not a threat. Do not stop the officers what they're doing. All right. Avoid yelling. We'll get into a lot of more details into this. All right. And your survival options, how to respond if these things happen. We're going to kind of combine some concepts. So you're going to hear one side, one set of concepts, and then, or you might see it and then see another. Okay. So some people are familiar with run, hide, and fight. There's also a concept called evacuate, hide out, and take action. And we're going to kind of touch on a little bit of both. And, then, of course, if you are able to get to a phone, and call 911. We want to let you know what you can do, what to tell the 911 operators or tell police. All right. You got to definitely provide clear information. Okay. And of course, always remember your safety comes first before you do anything of the sort. All right. So yeah, that's a little brief on, we touched on a little bit, and we're going to get into a lot more detail right now. All right. So we're going to take a look at a video first, and then we're going to go into some slides. And once we're done, we're going to get out of here. All right. So let's take a look at this video. It's roughly about 9 minutes long, maybe 10, a little less than 10. And I think you'll get a lot out of this particular video. So there might be times when I might stop the video and give my commentary on some things, or make some things clear, or maybe make some points a little bit more understandable. And if I don't, it definitely will happen when we go into the slides. All right. So I just want to make you aware that the video, I might stop and go type of thing and explain some things to you. And yeah, we can kind of go on from there. All right. So yeah, let's get into this video. Okay, let me move myself down a little bit and let's take a look at this video.
Happens, what you do in the first few seconds can be the single most critical factor for survival. It really isn't about luck, it's about knowing what to do. So we're going to break down the core strategies that experts say can absolutely save your life.
We're going to walk through a calm, clear, step-by-step guide for active shooter awareness and response. Look, the goal here isn't to scare anyone. It's about knowing what to do so you can be prepared, not panicked.
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll cover what the threat actually is. Then, we'll talk about your best defense, which is awareness. After that, we'll get into your specific survival options, then what to do when law enforcement shows up, and finally, how you can help safely. Let's jump right in with understanding the threat.
All right. So again, I want to reiterate real quick what the video is letting you know. This is not something to make everybody scared and be on the edge and be on your toes. This is information to make you aware of what you can do in case you get involved or you're in the middle of something like this going on. All right. It doesn't matter where you are. You could be sitting in a restaurant and this happens. You could be in a public outing and the situation happens, and you guys have seen it. I'm sure you've seen video, you've seen news videos where certain incidents have happened. Again, I mentioned the Bondi Beach incident in Australia, if I'm not mistaken. And like I said, there was some incident in Texas where there was some shootings going on as well. So, and like I said, over the past recent months and years, different things have been going on. And so I know you're familiar with all this. And this is not to scare you. This whole training is to prepare you mentally and give you some options on things you can do. I just want to kind of bring that point over and over and over. This is not anything to scare you or put you in fear, but you need to have some type of information and some type of structure, if you will, and some strategies. All right. And some, what's the good word for it? Concepts that you can use. All right. And so let's continue on with the video.
3 to 5 minutes. According to survival experts in law enforcement, that's the average time it takes for police to show up at an active shooter scene. 3 to 5 minutes. When your life is on the line, believe me, that feels like an eternity. And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? Before the professionals get there, your survival is all on you. It comes down to the choices you make. We're going to get into the core strategies you can use in that critical window. It's all based on one powerful idea: self-reliance.
All right. Also, I do want to push that point as well. And there is a saying that goes, when the police are minutes away, you only have seconds, something along those lines. All right. You only have seconds. Seconds count when the police are minutes away. So to bring that point back is to say in those critical minutes, you got to be your own first responder. Okay. You can't hunker down and cower down. And also want to make you aware, I might use some harsh words, or you might feel like I'm using harsh words, but it's not to be offensive, but it's to kind of bring you, because when it comes to reality and dealing with people in violent situations, you're going to face some harsh either speech or some harsh actions. So you got to start getting your mind and your mental prepared for that. All right. This is not a pity pat type of thing. And you got to come to that understanding. So a lot of times when it comes to personal protection situations, the thing that is really important is your mindset. And it really is. All right. You have to be really mentally prepared and understand that being attacked, whether it's on a one-on-one, somebody approaches you, or it's a mass shooting or active shooter situation, this is some serious stuff. It's not a game out here. All right. And you can't take that mindset of thinking it's a game, and not to say that you would take it as a game. A lot of people unfortunately will freeze up and panic, and hopefully this training course or this master class will kind of break you a little bit out of that mindset. So when it comes to these things, a lot of times it really boils down to your mindset, and before it even gets to a physical thing, your mind has to be ready, and you have to make up your mind about certain things when certain things happen. All right. So let's go on and continue.
So, what are we actually talking about when we say active shooter? Well, it's an individual who is actively trying to kill people in a populated place, like a mall, an office building, a school. It's a pretty straightforward definition, but really understanding it is that crucial first step.
Okay, so here's something you really need to get about these situations. This is not like what you see in the movies at all. These things happen incredibly fast. The situation can change from 1 second to the next, and there is almost never any warning. That's exactly why having a plan already in your head is so important.
The people who make it through these events are often the ones who've mentally walked through it before. And listen, you don't need years of intense training. What you need is a simple, powerful framework that you can remember even when your adrenaline is pumping.
Okay, so let's touch on that real quick before we continue. And we're just going to put the video back just a little bit. Again, it mentions mindset, all right? And also, not a lot of people probably don't want to do this, but it's a good practice to do it. And that is also mental rehearsal. And you can also probably even go as far as doing a physical type rehearsal. And a lot of times when you do that, when you kind of work the mental rehearsal, work it in your head, go through some scenarios in your head, and then maybe whether you do it by yourself or you have family members, maybe some coworkers, maybe you get with some coworkers at one point, or family members, friends, and go through one scenario of an active shooter situation. One of you can create a scenario, or you can take one, research situations that have happened, and you can do a set of things. You can sit down and just discuss, have a round table of family and friends or coworkers, have an evening where you just sit down and watch an actual incident. As hard as some, because everybody's different when it comes to watching these type of things and how they process it. But I think if you have a group of people that sit down and actually look at something, a real incident, I probably be better to watch a real incident. And you could create scenarios as well. You can probably create different scenarios based off of a real situation, a real incident, and just walk through what you see on the video, what you see if you actually, in particular, speaking about the Bondi incident, if you are able to get a hold of videos where you can watch those actual videos, whether it's from news clips or whatever, and go and watch the scenes where they were actually shooting, where they were located at, and sit down and say, okay, let's say you was walking to your car, you was getting ready to walk or enter in your car, and right above you is that bridge, just like it was in the Bondi incident, the walking bridge, and all of a sudden you hear this gunfire. Y'all can all sit down and together and discuss, okay, what would be the best actions if all of a sudden you didn't know where the gunfire was coming from, but it sounded like it was real close, and you just getting ready to step in your car, and before you get fully in, you hear all this gunfire. And everybody can discuss and debate on what is the best practices, what they could do. And even if you have friends that are in law enforcement, you can even invite them over and have a round table with them. Or you can ask a police officer or someone to sit in with you guys and kind of walk things through. And that officer can give you some tips and ideas as well. All right. So mindset is a serious thing, very important. And I would say the mental rehearsal, because that mindset is kind of / part of that mental rehearsal. And you put yourself in a situation, and you can also do this alone. You can sit down and watch the video alone. You can do it with friends, family, coworkers, or like I said, again, you could do it alone. You could come up with scenarios. You can even walk outside of your home. You can walk in a store to say, hey, you're not going shopping. You maybe act like you're shopping. You can even go into a store, Walmart, and just come up with a scenario. Say you're walking down, you take an actual cart and, just start walking down aisles and just imagine, okay, what if I heard gunshots right now? What is my next action? What should I be doing? All right. And again, we're going to go through the slides in this video, and you're going to get some ideas of what you can do. So if you do these scenarios by yourself or with family and friends, or if you sit down and watch actual video footage, this course, this training is going to show you, give you some ideas on what to look for and what you can do. All right. So let's continue on with this video.
What you need is a simple, powerful framework that you can remember even when your adrenaline is pumping.
The reality check is this: there is no script. In a situation like this, you're dealing with chaos, pure and simple, and you've got to make split-second decisions under insane pressure. Your ability to do that effectively starts with being aware of what's around you before anything even happens.
And look, this isn't about being paranoid. It's about building a simple habit. Wherever you go, a coffee shop, the movies, work, just take a mental snapshot. Know where you are. And even more important, always spot at least 2 ways out. Just knowing 2 exits from any room or building instantly gives you a major advantage.
Okay, this next part is the real core of what you need to know. Your 3 main survival options. And please remember this: the order here is everything. It's not a menu of choices, it's a priority list.
All right, here they are. 1, 2, 3. Number 1, evacuate. Number 2, hide out. And your third and final option, take action. You can think of it like a mental checklist you can run through in a crisis. Let's dig into each one.
Option 1 is without a doubt your best bet, if you can do it safely. If there's a clear path away from the danger, your number 1 job is to take it. Don't second guess it, just get out.
Now, if you are evacuating, there are a few critical things to remember. Go right away. Don't wait around. And seriously, leave your stuff behind. Your laptop, your purse, none of it matters. Just go. And if you've been practicing your awareness, you'll already have an escape route in mind. And this is so important. Keep your hands visible. That way, when police arrive, they can see you're not a threat.
What does it mean to run effectively? Well, for starters, always know where your exits are. And leave your stuff behind. Your laptop, your purse, nothing is worth your life. Move fast, and if you're in the open, move unpredictably, maybe zigzag. And this part is absolutely crucial. Understand the difference between cover and concealment. Cover, like a concrete pillar, can actually stop bullets. Concealment, like a hedge, it just hides you. Knowing that difference can be a literal lifesaver.
But what if you can't get out? What if the escape route is blocked, or it's just too dangerous? That's when we move to option 2, hide out. If getting out isn't a safe option, your new priority is to make yourself invisible. lockdown. The goal here is really simple. You want to make it as hard as possible for the attacker to find you. First, get out of their view. If there's a door, lock it. Better yet, block it with whatever you can find. Desks, chairs, anything. Turn off the lights. And this is vital. Silence your phone. And I mean completely silent, not vibrate. A buzz can be just as loud as a ring in a quiet room. Then just stay quiet.
This quote nails it. Hiding is not passive surrender. It is a tactical pause. You see, it's not about giving up. It's about buying yourself time. It's about getting secure, figuring out what your next move is, whether that's a new chance to escape or, as a last resort, getting ready to fight. So here's your checklist for hiding the right way. Your goal is to make where you are look as difficult and uninteresting as possible. A locked, barricaded, dark, and silent room is a tough target, and attackers often look for easier ones. So get out of view, lock the door, block it with desks, cabinets, anything heavy, silence your phone completely, no vibrating, kill the lights, and all while you're doing this, you're mentally getting ready to defend yourself if you have to.
Okay, now we come to the third option. And I need to be really clear about this. This is a last resort.
So what happens when running and hiding are no longer options? This is where you have to flip a switch in your brain. You have to commit to action. Because in that moment, doing nothing is the most dangerous thing you can do.
Taking action is the absolute last resort. You only do this when your life is on the line. Right now, you can't escape and there's nowhere left to hide. If you find yourself in that terrible spot, you have to commit 100%. The goal is to act with aggression, to do whatever it takes to incapacitate the attacker. This isn't about being a hero. It's about doing what you have to do to survive.
The goal when you fight is not to win some kind of fair fight. It's to create chaos. It's to disrupt the attacker's plan, to do the unexpected. Your aggression, your action, creates a window of opportunity, a chance for you and for others to escape. And you fight with whatever you can get your hands on. Your environment is filled with potential weapons. A fire extinguisher can be sprayed to blind them and then used as a heavy club. A chair, a heavy book, your keys, a pen. Even throwing hot coffee in someone's face can create that critical moment of distraction you need to survive.
All right, so let's shift gears. You've made it out or you've been hiding, and now you hear them. Law enforcement is on the scene. This is a really critical moment, and how you act next is so important for your safety and theirs.
The immediate threat is over, you hear sirens, and it's easy to think the danger has passed. But the scene is still incredibly chaotic, and your actions are still critical to your safety.
You have to understand, when police arrive, they are focused on one thing, stopping the threat. They don't know who you are. So what do? Stay as calm as you can. Drop whatever's in your hands, immediately. Put your hands up and spread your fingers so they can see you're empty-handed. And listen to every single command they give you, and follow it to the letter. No questions, no arguments. Don't make any sudden moves, don't grab onto them, and don't yell or point. Just comply. It helps them do their job and keeps you safe.
When officers arrive, they are walking into an extremely high-threat situation. They don't know who the victim is and who the attacker is. Their absolute first priority is to neutralize any and all threats. And in that confusion, tragic misidentifications can happen. So here's exactly how you interact with law enforcement. 1. Keep your hands visible and empty at all times. 2. Follow every single command they give you immediately without hesitation. 3. No sudden movements. And 4, if you have information, give it to them clearly and quickly, just the tactical details that can help them secure the scene. And this brings us full circle. It all comes back to you. The police will come, but they won't be there in those first few critical minutes. In that window, you are your own first responder. So the question isn't just what you would do, it's are you mentally prepared to do it?
Okay, last section. Let's talk about how you can help once you're out of immediate danger. The information you have could be vital, but you have to know how to give it safely. Okay, so if you're in a safe spot and you can call 911, here's the kind of information that's pure gold for the first responders. Just be quick, be clear. Where is the shooter? How many are there? What do they look like? What kind of weapons do they have? And if you know, how many people might be hurt? This is the info that helps them save lives.
But here is the most important rule, and I can't stress this enough. Your safety always comes first. Do not put yourself in danger to make a phone call. Only call 911 when you are absolutely sure that it is safe for you to do so.
So, let's wrap all this up. You see, this whole conversation, it's not about making you afraid. It's about giving you a plan so that if the worst ever happens, you're prepared instead of panicked. Look, you don't need to be some kind of expert to be prepared. It really just boils down to 3 simple things. First, awareness of what's around you. Second, a plan in your head. Evacuate, hide, take action. And third, the discipline to act on that plan when it counts. That, right there, is what real preparedness looks like.
All right. Hopefully this video has helped you guys a lot. And we're going to get into the slides now and break it down some more. I know the video kind of seemed like it might have went fast, but you can always rewind the video back and, go over some points in the video if you need to. And we're going to go into the slide deck and kind of slow it down a little bit more so it can help you out. All right. So let's pull up that slide deck. There we go. All right. And so, yeah, let's get into it. All right. What is an active shooter? Okay, we went through that in the video. We're going to break it down a little bit more and help you guys out. All right. What is an active shooter? A simple definition of an active shooter. An active shooter is an individual actively attempting to kill people in a populated or confined area. All right. Usually with a firearm. Examples include schools, stores, offices, public events. I mentioned those public events earlier. Like I said, it can be on a beach. All right. It can be in a football stadium. It can be in a basketball stadium or court. You can be at a concert watching your favorite singer or rapper. So it could be a whole host of places. It can be out in a park. You can be out an outing at a park and all of a sudden things just go down. All right. You could be on a college campus and mention school, college campus. Again, the other incident we was talking about there as well. All right. Now it does mention an individual, but in the situation with the Bondi Beach incident, it was 2 shooters. So I would say an active shooter could be 1 or more people actively attempting to kill other people. Okay. And these things happen quick. Sometimes your mind won't be able to process it. And you'll at first be wondering like what's going on. You might think you're hearing fireworks, and that seems to be one of those comments when you watch the news. Everybody's saying, I thought it was fireworks. There has to be something that can be done to break your mindset. We're talking back about mindset, to break you out of that type of thinking and to not just process things you're hearing as fireworks every time you hear something. It could be fireworks, but let's try to start thinking in these terms or in this way. Anytime you hear what you might deem to be fireworks, process it in your mind that it's gunshots all the time until you can prove otherwise. All right. Get in your mindset that you're hearing something pop, pop, pop. Just say, oh, somebody might be shooting. It sounds like gunshots until you can verify it's fireworks or not. And of course, sometimes we can hear even just the other day, I was walking out just to take some garbage out and I heard the popping, but I knew that it was fireworks because it was the fireworks that they shoot in the air. And then you hear the initial pop, and then you hear, I explain it like as the sprinkling sound of when it pow and blah, 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 blah. You hear the little follow-ups behind it. So I knew that's what it was. But you want to get your mindset into this thinking like, hey, anytime you hear something, take it as a gunshot and don't take it as fireworks, because it might cause you to freeze when it could be actually a real gunshots going off. All right. So take it as a gunshot and prove to yourself that it's not a gunshot. Okay. And again, these things happen fast. They change quickly. And it comes sometimes without warning. Your mindset is just you ride and drive in your car. You might have been listening to your favorite song. You pull up and park in the parking space in front of Walmart. You start to walk, and halfway between your car being parked and the entrance of Walmart, right in the middle, all of a sudden you hear gunshots, or you hear what you think are fireworks going off. And there have been incidents that happened at Walmart. There have been shootings that occurred at Walmarts. So you got to break yourself out of the fireworks mindset of thinking, okay? And again, the goal of this is not to make you afraid. It's to make you aware and to give you some tools for making some smart decisions, all right? And so the reality is there is no script when it comes to these active shooter situations or active shooter incidents or mass shooting incidents. There is no script to it, all right? These situations evolve quickly. You will not have time to figure it out later. There's no time when these things are happening. You don't have time to say, I'll figure this out later, all right? Your immediate actions are critical. What you do the moment you hear something, and sometimes you hear something and then you just see a rush of people just doing actions, running. You're going to have to act, okay? It's very critical. Your immediate actions are critical. So the core principle of situational awareness is always know where you are, always know where the exits are. I'll talk about that in a second. And always identify at least 2 ways out wherever you go. Now, what I'm going to say on that is forget 2 ways, think of 3 ways. All right. And I say that because thinking more than that, although with me, I'll try to find 4 exits. That's just me personally. All right. Or as many exits as there could be, because some places only have but 1 exit or maybe 2. All right. And I'm going to walk you through some things here before we go to the next slide. All right. So I would say look for at least 3, because the first one is the way everybody goes inside. And let's look at a Walmart for an example. Everybody goes in 2 sets of entrances. It's like 1 set of doors here, and then you go a little bit further down, further away, then Walmart has another set. So like 1 set is over there by the food, but then the other entrance is over there by maybe the toiletries, the soaps, the toothpaste and all that stuff, the hardware area. So most Walmarts are kind of situated like that. So that's 1 entrance. So now you got to figure out, and sometimes people could say that's two exits, 1 side and that. I would count those as 1. All right. In a sense, you could say technically, yeah, it's 1 side is 1 exit you can go out of, another side is another. But just having those 2, and those are going to be normally where people are going to try to run out, one or the other. And at that time, you might be way in the back of Walmart. You might not be anywhere near the front of the store where those entrances are that you went into at first. So my suggestion is, as you are walking around doing your grocery shopping or buying something for the holidays or a gift for somebody, you start identifying where other exits are in Walmart, using Walmart as an example. All right. As you go, be mindful to think, okay, let me see if I can find some other exits, because I might not be in the front of the store. I might be on the midways of the store, and there's an exit right on the side. Or there you might be midways on the store and there's no exit midways, like a side exit, but you might be closer to the rear exit. So identify where these exits are. That's one option. A stadium, you want to identify, because they have plenty of different ways to get out to exit out of a stadium. And you got to kind of identify, I say at least 3. You can count the first one when you go in as one of the exits that you can go right back out of, but you better identify some other exits as well. All right. Some other ways you can go, because everybody could be thinking going the same way they came in. And then all that's going to happen is it's going to be a congested situation. And then you're going to be stuck, and the gunfire is coming. You're going to be stuck there and end up getting shot. So find at least 3 exits. And let me see, what's another example? Now, you have restaurants that might have 1 or 2 You might have a side, and the restaurant might have a side door exit where people can come in and out of that way. The normal way, people come in the front, and you might want to identify a third one. Sometimes it's the door where the cooks are at, and the people are washing the dishes, and there's an exit door there, and they got to take out some garbage in the back. You might have to realize that that's another exit to get out of in a restaurant. So you got to kind of be aware and look around as you're going to do your shopping or sitting at a restaurant, identify where these exits could be at. And then pay attention to where you are as if you're in a restaurant sitting down. Okay, I identified 3 exits. I'm going to be sitting over here in the restaurant. What's my closest exit? All right. Okay, that's my closest one. Then what's my alternative if everybody starts going out that one? All right, that's an alternative. And your third one is another alternative. All right. So I always say try to find 3. If there's not 3, you can only deal with 1 or 2. That's the only options you have. Now, other options people say, could be smashing a window out. If you're able to do that, you might have to make your third exit by breaking something, taking a chair, smashing a window out. That might be an option to do. Or it might be wherever you might be at, that third exit might be a window. And if it's easy to climb out of, that might be your exit, that the only way you can get out the situation. Okay. So let's go on to the next one here. All right. You are your own first responder, and you have to start thinking like that. All right. When the police are minutes away, only seconds count. Okay. So you have to look at yourself as your own bodyguard, your own Secret Service agent, or for your own first responder. You got to be your own police in a sense, that you got to make sure you protect you until the police get there. You can't just sit around unless, and we'll get into that when it comes to the hide part. We'll discuss that. And that might be your only option. And that's all you can do at the time. And then police might show up while you're in hiding, right? So in a mass shooting, the critical window for survival closes long before help arrives. Institutional protection is an illusion. Personal preparedness is the only reality, okay? The only reality. And police response time, they say, is an average between 3 to 5 minutes. Some people might say longer, all right? A lifetime is definitely feel like a lifetime when seconds do count, all right? And critical moments between the first shot and when police arrive, you must rely on your own preparedness. Self-reliance was the word that was mentioned, okay? The gun-free zone fallacy. Research from Crime Prevention Research Center shows that 98% of mass shootings between 1950 and 2019 occurred. Civilians were legally prohibited from carrying firearms. Disarmament does not prevent violence. It ensures violence meets no immediate opposition. All right. That's something to think about if you're in these, I don't know where they would have gun-free zones, but I guess it's somewhere, right? And some people think because it's a gun-free zone that, you're not going to run into any problems. But to an attacker or a criminal, that's candy to them. All right. That's like butter on popcorn to a criminal. The gun-free zone, oh, then I got y'all, because none of y'all gonna come fight back against me. That's the mindset. So you might want to be leery about going to places and they dub it a gun-free zone. All right. It doesn't mean you're protected at all. Even if people say, well, hey, you need to put up this. If you're in places where you are able to carry, but you're going into an establishment that does not want you to carry and they want you to put it up, or they can hold it for you, you might want to think about that before you continue on. All right. It doesn't mean you're protected. Criminals will walk up on you in a gun-free zone. And like I said, it's cotton candy day at that time. All right. The first shot, overcoming the paralysis instinct. Okay. Overcoming the paralysis instinct. Your body's first reaction to gunfire will likely be shock and disbelief, leading to a dangerous freeze response. Survival depends on breaking through this paralysis in the first few seconds. So you got to break yourself from freezing, hearing things, because I've seen news when certain things, these type of things happen. People have admitted, like, I just froze. I heard some gunshots or what I thought it was, or firecrackers or whatever. And I just froze. I didn't know what to do. You got to break yourself out of that. Again, that goes back to your mindset. You got to change your thinking on certain things. All right. And that also comes back to what I was saying earlier about doing some type of rehearsal, sitting down with family and going through real incidents, real videos. You can get your hands on them, research them, and pull them up on YouTube, and sit down by yourself or with family and friends, co-workers, and say, hey, look, and look at these things that I'm talking about now. See if you see these things in actual videos. The Bondi, with the Bondi Beach incident, when I watched the video, they had different scenes and angles, and one where it was the large beach and everybody was kind of moving. Some people were walking super fast. Some people were jogging and running. There were also I caught a couple of glimpses of some guys standing there taking cameras or something and putting it to their face and actually standing around, even though the shooting was probably at a distance. They were just standing around and looking, like trying to look for it and see, and like it was some type of event. You don't know how far these bullets will travel and hit you, and you just standing around like that, like it's some type of concert event. You playing games with your life is all I can tell you. So, yeah, the freeze response is very dangerous. Survival depends on breaking through this paralysis in the first few seconds. So, acknowledge, let me go back. Acknowledge, immediately recognize the sound for what it is. Do not dismiss it as fireworks. Exactly what I mentioned earlier. All right. Orient yourself. Identify the direction of the threat if you can. The crack of a bullet is followed by the echo of the muzzle blast. Now, that can be tricky for a lot of people who don't deal with being around and hearing gunshots on a regular basis, or even just sometimes, because some people train and some don't, and that's cool. Do the best you can on trying to figure out where the shots are coming from, where the threats are, where the person who's doing the shots coming from. A lot of times you can just tell based on how people are running and what's happening. So as you're moving, you want to look around and look around in front of you so you don't end up running into the shooters, which there was another part of that Bondi Beach thing. There was a guy who would I couldn't understand. He was just standing right there. The guy was shooting. If some of y'all seen the video, there was whoever was recording it was behind the shooter, the older man, which was the dad. They were behind him taking the video, and as they were taking the video, you could see the dad shooting at one guy, and the guy was just standing there. And I guess he might have been missing him a few times, but the guy was just standing there. It was like right there. And it was two guys. I think one of them was the guy that actually took the gun away, I think. And then you had another man, he was just standing there. I mean, right in front of the guy, and he was just shooting, and the guy was just standing there. I don't know if it was one of those freeze situations, or you can't believe this guy is actually doing that. You got to break yourself out of that mindset. You got to think, move. You hear something, move. You hear something, move. Identify where it's coming from. All right. As you're moving, make sure you don't move running. You so much want to move, but you're not thinking and paying attention. You run into the shooter, just like this guy was standing in front of him. Now, I know some of y'all have seen the video. So break yourself out of that. If you got to use a trigger word, again, I just said one, move. In your mind, you can say move, or you can scream it out loud to yourself. In a situation like that, you're not going to get embarrassed for saying it. You can just say move because it's helping you, but at the same time, it's helping other people that might be freezing too and might not particularly see this particular class today. All right. So you can yell out, move, 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 because it's going to wake your mind up to move, and it might wake up somebody else that's nearby to move. Okay. So the last thing is act. Move, like it just said right there. There you go. Move. The single greatest threat to survival is inaction. Mental rehearsal before a crisis is the key to acting decisively under pressure. And I highly suggest that you do some type of rehearsal. Now, you don't have to. When I say rehearsal, you can do a mental rehearsal in your mind. You can sit down like I'm sitting now and just run through some scenarios. Okay, if I was walking in Walmart and I was going to the fruit section and where the fruits and vegetables are, and I'm looking and I'm actually messing with the fruit and vegetables, making sure it looks good before I get it, and all of a sudden I hear gunshots. What is your next move? You have things, and we'll go into the cover and concealment in a second. Your next move could be finding some cover or concealment and duck down behind that or stand behind that until you can identify where these shots coming from before you make your next move to run or escape somewhere else. All right. You can run through a scenario mentally. You can actually be in your own home and just imagine you're shopping and actually do a physical rehearsal. You can go outside and do a physical rehearsal. You can go in the actual store and just pretend, act like you're going shopping, but actually you just kind of walking through and saying to yourself, okay, I'm in Walmart for real. And you can go as far, even if you go and shopping for real. We have some things and just say, okay, I just heard gunshots as a rehearsal in your mind. Okay, what if I hear some gunshots? Did I identify exits as soon as I walked in? You can run all types of scenarios to where you just walking in the store and you hear gunshots immediately. What can you do? What should you do? What are you capable of doing? You can be halfway in the Walmart, for example, and you might have identified the entrance you came in as an exit. And as you're walking, you might have seen, okay, there's a side door that says exit for emergencies only. And that could be the only exit that you have available to you at the time. So walk through, you can do a physical rehearsal or mental or a combination of both. All right. So mental rehearsals before a crisis is key to acting decisively under pressure. All right. So the survival hierarchy, your prioritized response: run or escape, hide, barricade, and fight and attack. Okay. Key actions: create distance, evade, prioritize exits. Your first thing when you go into any place is to identify exits. All right. As when it comes to hiding or barricading, key actions: fortify your position, deny access, and prepare yourself to fight because you might have to. All right. And as for fighting or attacking, your key actions is commit to violence. All right. Be as violent, do the most violent things you can do to this attacker. And you might be with a group of people in a bathroom in Walmart because that's the only place you were able to run to at the time. Y'all make up your mind and try to encourage those that are in the bathroom with you that, hey, we might have to fight if this guy or girl comes in there, because we can't say all the time it's just going to be a guy. Most of the time it's a male, but it could be a female as well. All right. So that's another thing to make sure you don't get in your head is don't overlook that women can be the ones who are active shooters. There was an incident, I forget what airport. I almost want to say it was Atlanta airport. There was a woman who I think walked in the bathroom and then came out and had a gun and was shooting. I think, I'm not mistaken. I can't forget how long ago it was, but I remember the video was in my head. I can remember seeing the video footage in my mind now that was shown on the news. And this lady went in and then came out and was shooting. All right. So don't overlook that it can't be a woman. Don't be fooled by that. All right. Your actions in the first 30 seconds are more critical than anything that happens in the next 30 minutes. So you got to be decisive. All right. All right. So let's get into your core survival options, which is section number 2. Okay. All right. 3 choices you have in this order. All right. In these situations, when it's going down, you can evacuate, or you should evacuate, which is your first best choice. And then if you can't, or you're unable to run or evacuate, you hide out. Your second option, if escape is not possible. And then, of course, your third action is to take action and fight, attack, all right, which is your last resort only when your life is in immediate danger. Okay. Another way to look at it is run, hide, and fight. So you do have evacuate, hide out, take action, or you can say run, hide, and fight. Whichever one of these words resonate with you, or these group of choices resonate with you the most. You can call it evacuate, or you can put it in combination: evacuate, and run by running. Okay, hiding out is hide, and then take action by fighting. Okay, you can combine those as one thing. All right, that's the framework for your survival. Okay, it's not a checklist, it's a hierarchy of preferred actions. All right, so the preferred action at first is to run and escape. If you can't run and escape, it's to hide. All right, if you can't hide, or you hide and then the attacker comes in, you have no choice but to fight. Okay, so again, it's not a checklist, it's a hierarchy of preferred actions. Your goal is to move through these options based on your immediate situation. All right. Each decision is a strategic choice to increase your odds of survival before law enforcement can intervene. So with running, is there a clear path to escape? All right. Something to think about. Again, like I said, you don't want to start running and escaping and you run right into the shooter because you didn't identify or try to identify where the threat is at the time. All right. So hiding, if you cannot escape, can you find a defensible position place to hide? All right. If when it comes to number 3, fighting or taking action in fighting, if escape and hiding are impossible, are you prepared to attack? So let's talk about that real quick, because it's an easy framework to remember. Run, run and escape, escaping by running, hiding, or fighting. So you got those 3. It's not a lot to remember. You know, your first option is to try to run and get out of there, escape. But you could be in a situation where you can't run or you don't have time to run. Because remember earlier, we said that things change and they happen fast. So you could be in a position where you are in the store and you looking at some meat or something like that. And right behind you, a guy walks, and then all of a sudden he or she, I always say guy, but again, it could be a woman. They're walking right behind you. And at that point is the time the gun gets pulled out. So you have no choice to run. You have no choice to hide. You might have to fight that person right then and there. You might have an option to try to run if their focus is somewhere and not in your immediate direction. You might be able to duck down and kind of run yourself out of there before they decide to turn around and go after you. That might be an option. You also might have an option, because the only option is to fight while they're facing somewhere else. You come attacking from behind. That might be your only option. The only thing you can do. All right. So when it comes to this list, it's not do step 1, step 2, step 3. It's based on the situation that you're in. Okay. Again, I use that scenario that you can be just doing something right then and there, not paying attention, which this is a whole being aware of your surroundings is another component of all this. But you're busy picking up the meat. You're making sure the packets don't have a hole in it. And you're making sure the meat doesn't look like it's been sitting out and for months. And while you're doing all of that, you're handling that, somebody come right behind you. And that's the time when they decide they're going to pull the weapon out and start shooting. or pull out a machete and start running after people and chopping them. All right. You have to do something that's you in that scenario. There's nowhere to really run unless, of course, their back is turned from you. You might have an open window, a window of opportunity to take off and run at that point because their back is turned. But you might be a slow person. You might not be able to run fast. And so at that point, while their back is turned, your only option might be to actually go after them. That might be the only option you have. So the run, hide, and fight, or the escape, hide, and take action is based on the scenario you're in at the time. All right. Option one, again, evacuate. If you can get out, then get out. If a clear and safe path is available, go immediately. Do not wait for permission to go. Try not to freeze. Again, use a trigger word. Either say to yourself, go, 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 or move, move, move. If you got to end with your family members, you might have to go through a scenario and actually say those words, whichever words you feel comfortable with the most. If it's go, 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 or move, 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 you're able to, it's kind of like a cheering type of thing and getting you motivated to do something as opposed to just, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe. Move, 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 move. And you see somewhere for them to go to, run into the bathroom. Or there's an exit right there. Okay. Don't sit there and freeze. Okay. Have a route in mind that you want to go to. Leave your belongings. A lot of people, I know it can get hard. Ladies, fellas, you might drop a phone, you might drop your purse, wallet, and I just got to go back and get it. And when you go back, that's when you get shot. Try to break yourself out of some of these habits and these mindsets. Just leave it there. In that particular situation, leave it there. If there was a fire somewhere in the Walmart and you got time to grab your purse and you might have dropped it at first, maybe you have time to grab it at that particular incident. But when you thinking you hearing some gunshots or you know it's some gunshots and you got startled or whatever and it caused your purse to fall out or you had a phone in your hand, you got shook and it fell out, don't try to go back and pick it up because that could be the time where it's a wrap for you. Okay. So leave your belongings behind. Move quickly, but stay alert. Again, like I said, you might not know where the shot's coming from. The echoes might trick you into thinking the shot's coming from one direction. So you feel, oh, I'm going to run this way, but that's the actual way that the gunman is actually standing at doing the shooting, and you run right into the person. So try to be staying alert and identify. You might have to look at how people are moving. As you're moving, you got to look at, oh, they all coming this way. The shooter must be back that way. All right. You might hear screams and yells that you might have to identify from the screams and yells. And that might be the screams and yells of people getting shot. And that might be where the bullets or the person is coming from doing the shooting. All right. You got to use, that's an unfortunate thing to have to use as a reference, but you got to use it. It's all about survival. All right. So keep your hands visible, of course, when if you encounter law enforcement. All right. Again, first priority is to escape and run. Try to create as much distance and survive. Another thing to consider is to do the zigzag thing. Okay. Zigzag. As you're running, just don't run straight because it's very easy. It's easier for somebody to just kind of pick you off if you're just running in a direct line. Eventually, even if they're not a good shot, eventually they'll get you if you're just running straight. So learn to zigzag and zigzag in front of cover. We're going to talk about cover and concealment shortly, but cover stops bullets. If you want to find something that you consider or think can stop bullets and you're running in zigzag, run in front of a brick wall somewhere or run to the side of a building that has the building's brick, more likely to survive until you can get to where you're needing to go. Okay. Have a plan. Always be aware of the exits. Move with purpose, zigzagging. Use cover and not concealment, because cover will definitely, or for the most part, stop bullets and protect you a little bit more than just concealment. Leave your belongings behind, okay? Leave them behind. Hiding out, if you can't get out, lock down somewhere. If you can run in somewhere that has doors, do so. Now, I want to talk about this real quick. First, let me go through this. If escape is not possible, your goal is to avoid being detected. Get out of the shooter's view, lock and barricade the doors, turn off all the lights, turn your phone off. Don't even have the vibrator going. Stay quiet and still. All right. Again, hide out if you are unable to escape. And let me just talk about this because it's something that you need to be aware of. And I don't want you to be under the illusion that hiding out is what's going to protect you, because I say this: you can hide out. You can run into a bathroom that might not have doors, or you can run into a room that has doors, but be prepared and understand that there is a possibility that the shooter can shoot through the walls and never have to come inside the room. So understand, wherever you run into, you might have to put, when it says barricade, you might have to throw a whole bunch of stuff in front of it. And hopefully those things will slow a bullet down from penetrating through and hitting you, or it could stop it. We don't know. It depends on what you're putting up against the door, and you might want to put as much things against that door, and hopefully that can stop it. But you also got to consider the different walls that are around you, and if that shooter is able to stand where those walls are at, that shooter can shoot through the walls. Okay, they can shoot through the door, so you want to try to pile much things on there, not only to keep the attacker from opening the door, you also want to pile things on there to hopefully, if they shoot through the door, it doesn't penetrate all the stuff that you're trying to pile in front of that door. All right. Also, you have to consider how the door opens. Does it open out? So the attacker has to pull it towards, pull the door towards them in order to open it, or does the attacker just simply need to push the door in and to get it open? Okay. So you might have to, depending on how the door opens, if it's to where it comes in, the door opens by coming towards you, you could put things up against it and to keep it from being open as fast or as easy. If it goes the other way, you might have to consider one of y'all might have to take off a belt. If you have a belt on, you might have to take off a shirt or a jacket and use that and tie up the doorknob and keep it from coming open, somebody pulling it open in the opposite direction. So you got to be aware of those things too. All right. And again, stay quiet, turn your phone off completely. Don't even put it on vibrate, because in a quiet room and a shooter is walking through the hallway and all of a sudden they hear, they're turning towards you then, or turning to that sound where they hear that, and that's the room that you're in. So keep that in mind. All right. So your priority 2 is to hide, barricade, and prepare. All right. If escape is not possible, your goal is to create a fortified position that is difficult and time consuming for the shooter to breach, to get in. Shooters seek easy targets. All right. And that's true to some degree. They're looking for easy targets. Okay. So how to actively hide, barricade, lock the door, and block it with heavy furniture if you can, pushing desk, cabinets in front of the door. And these things might also help to protect you should the shooter start shooting. It could slow the things down. It could get enlarged inside the cabinet or the desk and might not never hit you. Just don't know. Be quiet again. Get out of sight. Turn the lights out, which will probably be mentioned here. Position yourself away from the doors and windows. But you also, like I said, you also got to consider that bullets can go through these walls, because not all these walls are solid when you're inside buildings, office rooms and stuff like that. not as solid as the outer of a building. The building on the outside might be brick or some concrete, and that could stop a bullet or slow it down from hitting you. But the different office rooms in a building, those walls are paper thin pretty much. So you got to consider not only if you don't be near a window if there's one, and don't be in front of the door, but you also got to consider, hey, somebody might be able to shoot through this wall too. Or this person is shooting and it randomly ricochets into a wall that you might be in that room. Okay. And of course, prepare yourself to fight. All right. Look for items inside, start getting the mindset of learning to identify things in any environment that you're in that can be used as a weapon. All right. Learn to start training yourself to think that way. I do that all the time. I always go in somewhere and I always point out, oh, I can use that as a weapon. I could take that and choke a person. I could take that and hit them. I could jab that in the eye. All right. I could put that in the throat. I could take this thing here and smash the legs with it. You got to start getting the mindset of identifying things you can use as a weapon. All right. And of course, option 3, take action and fight. It's the last resort, they say. Sometimes it might be the first thing you can do because, again, like I mentioned earlier, you're in a situation where the first thing that happens, you're doing something and somebody right behind you, that's the time when they pull out a weapon. And you could get shot because your back is turned. That'll just be an unfortunate thing. Or you might just have some split seconds because the person didn't turn to you first. Maybe somebody started running and seen them with a gun. And so they decide, I'm going to get them. And while their back is turned, you might have only option. You might be as close enough to only attack the person. You might not be able to run anywhere. All right. So again, that's the last resort, but it also could be your first. It might be the first option that you only have. You might not have the run option or the hide option. You might have to actually take action and attack. All right. Critical conditions. This is not bravery. This is survival. And always look at it as you're surviving. You're doing what you can do to survive this situation. You going crazy on the person. You're not just pitter-patting a person. You're really going to have to attack them. And I say, go for the eyes at first, no matter what. Go for the eyes. All right. Grab them from behind if you can. If you're behind them and you come, you might have to grab them from the front and dig your eyes in while you're behind them and pull them in that way. All right. Biting as well. All right. You can use that in combination, going into the eyes and biting the person at the same time. Puts a whole lot of shock on a person. Trust me. All right. You might have a weapon on you. You might have a gun on you. Use it. You might have a knife on you already. Use it. Okay. You might have things on you already. So your life is in immediate danger. So take action only if your life is in immediate danger. There's no way to escape. There's no place to hide. Of course, these things I mentioned already. Required mindset, commit fully to your actions, commit to it. Act as if, basically your life is on the line. But again, some people don't know what to do if they had an option to do it. Go for the eyes. No matter what position you're in, go for the eyes. Again, you might have a knife. Take the knife and go for the eyes. All right. You got a gun. There's a little more options. You can have distance. You can start shooting at them. But when these things where you have to actually get close, go for the eyes or try to unbalance the person. But not everybody is strong enough to do these things. But I think everybody's more possibly capable of going to a person, latch on to them and go for the eyes. Whether you're behind them, you can go for the eyes that way. Even if you're on the side of a person, you can go for the eyes. If you're in front of them, you can go for the eyes. All right. Do whatever is necessary to incapacitate the attacker. All right. And again, we're kind of going over reiterating the fight situation, overwhelm. Now, this is a good image here because you might be with a set of people. You might be inside of a bathroom looking at a situation where you had opportunity to hide. and you might be with 2 or 3 people, 4 or 5 other people. You got to make a quick plan and say, well, hey, if this person comes in, I'm going to do this. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. I'm going to go for the body. You go for the head. Somebody goes for the weapon arm and try to get, grab the arm and the weapon at the same time, make up some type of plan and overwhelm the attacker. Also, there are incidents when the attacker is having to change the magazine in their gun, or the clip, people call it, the clip, the magazine. That might be your opportunity that you have to attack the person while they ran out of ammunition or ran out of bullets, and they're looking for something, another clip or something to change, to put into the gun. While they're busy trying to do that and stick the magazine or the clip back into the gun, before they get it back in there, it might be your opportunity to attack. By yourself, you might have to do it just like the guy in the Bondi Beach incident. He ran up and had an opportunity to go from behind, I think he was, and was able to grab it and take the gun away while things are kind of at a lull and they're switching out or changing. Maybe they're changing weapons. Maybe they're out of ammo for one gun and they're changing out with another one. Or they have a machete and their back is turned. Overwhelm them at that point, if that's the only option. Now, if you're further away from someone holding a knife or a machete and you're at a distance, you don't even want to bother going to attack them. Try to gain more distance. But when it comes to guns and the guy switching out magazines or throwing this weapon down and taking another one he has, might be your time to swarm that attacker. All right. Might be your opportunity to swarm the attacker. So, again, strategies to attack is acting like a team. All right. Acting like a team. Do not act alone if others are present. You got to try to encourage them to attack, man. A coordinated attack from multiple angles is far more effective. All right. I talked about this earlier. Use improvised weapons. Anything can be a weapon. You should be able to understand that, or should understand that. Aim for the head, eyes, and throat. I would agree to that as well. Impact chairs, laptops, for impact weapons, chairs, laptops, heavy books, chemicals. You got the spray a fire extinguisher to disorient and maybe choke the person. They'll gag off of what comes out the fire extinguisher. Edged, pointed. You got pens, keys, broken glass. Commit to action, attack with overwhelming force, and do not stop until the threat is neutralized. All right. Your survival depends on your aggression. Okay. Understand that. Again, like I said before, you have to learn now, before anything happens, to learn to train yourself to pick out things that you can use as a weapon. All right. Phone is pretty tough. All right. Cell phone, I can use that to strike. All right. Sometimes all you might have is a watch. You might need to fashion it as brass knuckles. All right. That might be all you have. All right. You might be hiding in a room and you guys have a plan, right? You guys have a plan. This person is going to do this. This person is going to do that. And in the office room that you in, might have some type of cord, or some item might be plugged into something. You might be able to break that cord off of there, or the item in this case, headphones here, might be something you can wrap around somebody's neck, or it might be extension cords plugged in somewhere, and you can take that, or you can use it to start hitting the person. All right. So learn to be a person that anywhere you walk into, you identify weapons, often called weapons of opportunity, which I like to look at it. There's two things. There's weapons of opportunity, and then there's weapons that you can improvise, or something you can improvise into something. So you could be in a room and there happens to be phone chargers, right? There happens to be phone chargers. Well, you have socks on. I would take that phone charger off, take your sock. If there's a couple of them, or some people have those weights, and they holding up books and stuff, stick them things inside of a sock. You might have to take both of your socks so it can be double strength and put items in that sock and tie it up. And when the person comes in there, boom, hit them upside the head with it or hit them in the face with it, while the other guys, other people that you might be in the room with, go and attack other parts of the person's body. One goes after the weapon while you taking the sock with that heavy weight or whatever you put in there, a soda can that's not been opened, stick that in a sock. That's you're improvising a weapon. You're improvising something, turning it into a weapon, as opposed to a weapon. Here's a weapon of opportunity, my cell phone. I got an opportunity to take this right now and use it. Where if I have some time to buy, or I could stick this cell phone in a sock, wrap up the sock, and when they come in there, I just start swinging them in the face with it, swinging them in the head, swinging them in the neck, swinging them in the face and the nose, hit them in the back of the head with it, because I stuck this inside of my phone inside of a sock. All right. So I look at it as there's improvised weapons. There's things you can improvise and turn things into a weapon. And there are things that's just there you can pick up and you can just right away use it as a weapon. All right. So learn to identify both. Okay. And commit to action, man. Commit to stomping, as we say. Commit to getting busy. Okay. Commit to getting busy. And don't stop until that person is just out. All right. Simple as that. And again, teamwork as a force multiplier. Core concept: a single shooter can be effectively neutralized by a coordinated, committed group. The goal is to create chaos and sensory overload. They're so overloaded with all these attacks, their brain can't process all this. Hey, I'm getting popped here. I'm getting stomped on them. Somebody's sticking something in my eye. Somebody's grabbing my throat. All these people are attacking me. That's overloading his senses or her senses. All right. So sensory overload. Coordinated tactics distract one part of the group, throws objects at them. Come in, start throwing laptops and stuff, whatever you got in there. Another group or part of that group can, while you got one person throwing things, everybody else swarms the person. Or they come in and you're the one that has to take that sock and you got your cell phone in the sock, or you have some weight, some paper weight or something like that. And as soon as they come in, boom, you swinging on them and busting them in the head while everybody else starts to tackle. All right. Control, or let's say the swarm, while the shooter is distracted, the rest of the group rushes them from multiple angles. Not everybody just go in the front. Somebody in the front, somebody on the side, somebody low, somebody high, somebody from behind, while you just wearing them out. And then when they get them down, they're holding them down, you just wear them out some more. Maybe you the stomp out person. When they get them down, you stomping them out in the head until this person is out. All right. You might be the person to be the one to attack. And then when everybody swarms them and gets them down, then you the stomp out person, stomping them out or her out. All right. So control, the primary goals are to control the weapon, to be the head and limbs. Everyone has a job. All right. That's if you're with a bunch of people, you come up with a quick plan. All right. If you're by yourself, you're going to have to do what you need to do by yourself. And again, that could be improvising a weapon. That could be putting as much as you can push up against the door. If you're strong enough, something might be heavy. You're able to do it, fine, do that. And then be prepared. Like I said, they could shoot through the walls, shoot through the doors, shoot windows if there's windows. If the person happens to be back outside and sees like, oh, I'm gonna shoot through this window, I think somebody's in there, and then want to look inside the window, make sure nobody's hiding under there. You got to be aware of these things can happen too. And in the sense of when you have a group of people with you, use simple, loud commands if possible. Get them, get them, get them. Take them down, take them down. And like I said, finish the person off by stomping their head out. Forget about stomping their leg and kicking them in the ribs. Take out the brain, stomp them out to where they overload the sensory, then hit targets on the head, back of the head, back of the neck, crush the cheekbones up, stomp them in the eye sockets, crush their nose, stomp them in the nose, break that nose bone. You're going to have to do something very violent. All right. This is serious business. Okay. Protecting others, leadership under fire. Your own survival is paramount, as an incapacitated rescuer becomes another victim. So you can't help anybody if you're injured, right? Or you take it out. Calculated action is more effective than reckless heroism. All right. Guide, don't carry. If possible, guide children, elderly, and disabled individuals toward cover or an exit. Your goal is to facilitate their movements. All right. Use clear, simple commands. Panic impairs understanding. Use direct instructions like stay low, come here, get behind me. All right. Calm, clear. You got to be as calm as you can. And I know situations like that, it's going to be hard to do so, but try to do so and just use simple, clear commands like stay low, like come here, or get behind that, or stay over there, stay right where you are, stay behind this, come over here, get behind me. All right. Provide cover, don't shield. Use your body to block the shooter's line of sight while moving between points of hard cover, concrete or steel. Cover, concrete, steel. Do not simply stand in the open as a human shield. All right. Assess the risk. Do not attempt a rescue that will expose both you and the person you are trying to help to certain harm. All right. Shooter's line is showing the image of the shooter's line of sight, and you see the person and what looks like some kids. Consider those things and think about that. All right. It's better to guide them as opposed to picking them up. But the instinct might be to pick up your kids. You might pick up two kids, but there's also some limitations when you do that. It might make you slower. You're not able to better protect or guide. So there are some limitations when you pick up kids, or you have an elderly mother, father, or you just happen to see someone who's elderly, not related to you, and they just all might be where you're at. You got to consider by picking them up or trying to drag them along the how that affects you. Okay. How that slows you down. Okay. The aftermath of all of this, you can stop the bleed in a mass casualty event. The number one cause of preventable death is uncontrolled bleeding. You can save a life in the minutes before paramedics arrive. Ensure your own safety first. All right. Before rendering aid, be certain that the threat has been neutralized. All right. Before you start trying to help and aid people, you better make sure the person who's doing all the shooting and attacking everybody, make sure they've been neutralized and taken out. If you don't know that's been the case, because you can hear all of a sudden you can hear gunshots and then it's quiet. You might think it's over, but you better make sure it's over. Whether that over means the person has left the building to do something else, or they ran out of bullets, so now they're going to try to run and escape so the police don't get them. Or it might just be a quiet because they're exchanging their clips, quote unquote, or magazines to put a fresh new magazine in the gun to start shooting again. Don't get tricked so easily, okay? Use a tourniquet if there's one available for severe limb bleeding. Apply a tourniquet high and tight, so wherever the injury is at, you want to go above that injury and apply the tourniquet, okay? It will be painful for the person or yourself. You might have to do that to yourself, but it will save their life. Now, there's been some controversy into telling people to cut off a piece of your shirt or taking your belt, and because there's no tourniquet available. I say, because it's situations like this and there might not be a tourniquet available, you got to do the best you can with what you got. You know, a belt might be the thing. It might not be the best thing to use, or tearing off a piece of your shirt, a thick piece of your shirt, and trying to tie it around somebody's leg or arm that was shot so you can stop the bleeding. Do the best you can. It's better than nothing. All right. In a situation like that, when there's no tourniquets available and you don't have none on you. All right. Apply direct pressure. Use a clean cloth, shirt, hands to apply firm direct pressure to the bleeding wound, and keep the victim warm. Cover them with a jacket or blanket to prevent the shock. All right. Then we go into section 3. When law enforcement arrives, how you should respond. Their first job is to stop the threat. You might not be able to assist, or they might not be able to assist you at the moment. All right. So what do? You got to remain calm, put everything down, and drop any items in your hands, because police might think that you are the actual suspect. So you want to make sure you present yourself as not being the person that's doing all the harm. Raise your hands and spread your fingers. Follow the directions and instructions that they give you without hesitation. If they say get down on the ground, spread your arms and legs, then do that. If they tell you to move on wherever or get out of here, go out that door, then do that. But make sure you do it that you can show where you got nothing in your hands. All right. What not to do is do not make sudden movements, because you might be glad they're there and you might want to give them a hug or shake their hand or hug because you're so stressed out from the incident happening. They might take it as a move, you're aggressing upon them, and not taking it like, this person just been through a traumatic situation and it's just they come in overwhelmed. All right. So you got to kind of control yourself at the time, man. And then when there's time to, then you can kind of let out all the cries and all the other things you might need to do. All right. Do not grab, point, or yell at the police. All right. They could also take that as some type of aggression and mistake you as the attacker. All right. When help arrives, interacting again with law enforcement. Responding officers are arriving to a chaotic scene with high adrenaline. They do not know who is the threat. Your actions will determine how they perceive you. Protocol for interaction is keep hands visible and empty. This is the universal signs of non-aggression. Drop anything you are holding. Don't pick up your purse, ladies, if you happen to have it with you. You might be mistaken for grabbing a gun out of there. You might be getting a tissue because you're so overwhelmed in tears. All right. Follow commands immediately. Do exactly as they say. Do not make sudden movements. Again, provide information concisely when it is safe to do so. Give them critical information like where's the shooter at? Where's he located or she located? If there's a group of people that's doing the shooting, how many that you recognize, number of shooters, physical descriptions, if you can remember. And if they have weapons, you might not be familiar with types and makes and models. So, hey, is it a handgun? Is it a long gun? Things like that could still help. Expect to be treated as a threat. You may be handcuffed or held at gunpoint. Just remain calm and compliant. That could be that's just the standard procedure until they can identify who's who. All right. And then providing information. This is section 4, providing information to 911. Communicate what matters. Again, clear, short, direct. If you can safely call 911 or speak to officers, provide only critical information. Again, location of shooter or shooters. How many of them are there? How many shooters are there? How many you've seen for sure that you know for sure? Don't make a guess. All right. If you just seen one, it might be 2 or 3. But if you just seen one, say I only seen one. I'm not sure if there's any others. All right. A physical description. Hey, I remember seeing him with a black hoodie. That's all I can remember. All right. Type of weapons. Again, a lot of people don't know, hey, this is a SIG P whatever, or this is Smith & Wesson 9mm. You might not know that, but you can say it's a gun that they have that they can hold in their hand is a handgun. Or instead of saying rifles or shotgun, you say it's just a long gun. All right. A long gun. Number of potential victims. You might have been running and trying to escape, and you seen one person. You might have ran past a couple of people that were already on the ground. You know, if you can remember, try to remember. If you just remember one, hey, I remember I ran and there was one person on the ground. That's all you can say, right? The first rule of calling for help is your safety comes first. You got to be safe first before you decide to pick up your phone, or you might see another cell phone because everybody was running. Somebody else dropped the cell phone and it might be available for you to get in. You know, some phones will have a lock after the timer runs out and the screen goes black. You might not be able to access it, but you might be able to pick up a phone, or there might be a phone in the building, depending on where you at. Because nowadays, businesses don't have phones. Everybody's having a cell phone, but you have some businesses that will still have landline type of phones inside their place of business. So do not expose yourself to danger just to make a call. Only call 911 when you are in a safe location and safe to do so. All right. Preparedness, not panic. All right. So again, this training is not about instilling fear into you. It's not to make you afraid to go outside and enjoy yourself, to go somewhere. It's to give you options. It's to make you aware that these things can happen, and they have happened. All right. There's been Walmart shootings. I just mentioned the Bondi Beach incident that happened a little while ago. Walmart shootings, again, I repeat that. There's been attacks where the incident where the guy drove the truck. I think that was in Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken. And so that means you have to be aware of your surroundings. All right. So again, this training is not about instilling fear into you. It is about giving you tools to be prepared instead of panicking. All right. And I hope that this class has done this for you, between me explaining this through the slides and you watching the video. All right. You don't need super tactical elite training. You just need to be aware of your surroundings. You have a plan based on the options you have, and the discipline and the courage, I would say, the balls, if you will, to act when it matters. All right. And you can develop those things just by going through a mental scenarios in your head. Like I said, they say athletes go through the mental rehearsals if someone's a runner, they kind of in their head imagine themselves doing their run or jumping the hurdles and stuff like that. You can use the same processes in these type of situations before an incident actually happens. All right. So you can run yourself, sit down in a comfortable place and just think through scenarios. And you can use places that you actually go to or have gone to in the past. And that's one way of doing it. You can combine that with actual doing a physical rehearsal. You can also combine those two with actually looking at videos of actual situations that happen and look at what you can see that was wrong, and look at things that you say, oh, this person could have done this, because then it makes you recognize the mistakes being made and see the options that are available. So if you end up getting in that situation, you can recognize these options immediately. So going through those things, watching videos, and they could be done separate or they could be done in combination. All right. However you feel comfortable doing it, because some people don't want to watch videos like that because it's just too shocking to them. And like I said, everybody's different. Everybody's personality is different. Some people just have a fearful mindset. And for those folks, for people who are like that, find one of these 3 ways to kind of break you out of a little bit of that fear. You might not want to watch a real incident because it'll just put you in more shock. Okay, cool. Then come up with your own scenarios and think to yourself, what would I do? What could I do in this situation? If I go here, and then you might even want to walk yourself into a store and just kind of go through the process of creating a scenario in the store. If that's too traumatic to you, if that's a little bit too much, then do the sit down and just do a mental rehearsal. Sit down and say, because then it doesn't put you in the actual place. You can create however you wanted to create it, but make sure you take a look at the processes that we was teaching you here. Look at the run, hide, and fight, or the escape, hide, and take action concept and strategy, and say, okay, I'll think about a scenario. Okay, in this scenario, do I have option to run? Or you could put yourself in scenarios mentally and say, I'm gonna put me in a scenario where I could run. Then I'm gonna put myself in a mental scenario where the only option was to hide in this scenario. And then this scenario, the only option was to fight. So then you can kind of walk yourself through it, because once it's in your mind is acting like you really did it for real. So when you get in a situation, your mind has something to pull from. All right. It says, oh, we already been through a situation similar to this. And you'll start acting instead of freezing on what you need to do. All right. So again, awareness of your surroundings, a plan based on your options, the discipline to act when it matters. Okay. Preparedness is defiance. All right. I think that's a good way of saying it. Preparedness is defiance. Centralized institutions have proven they cannot guarantee your safety. All right. So don't sit there and wait for yourself to get harmed. Another incident of what was it the Dollar General? There was an incident at Dollar General. So they happen in these stores, regular places you can go to. All right. So centralized institutions have proven they cannot guarantee your safety. They promote a culture of dependency and victimhood. Cultivating situational awareness, being aware, paying attention to what's going on around you, learning practical skills, and taking responsibility for your own protection is not paranoia. All right. Big focus on taking responsibility for your own protection. If you got little ones, you're going to be responsible for them. If they're little but old enough to kind of, you can give them commands. And a lot of times when you got kids 2 and 3, 4 or 5 years old, make it into a game, because when they learn, if it's a game to them, they'll grasp all the information you need them to have. So turning things like that, these shooter situations with them, into a game, make it as a fun thing and not make it seem like it's real harsh, because then they'll know what to do. And then some kids will really grasp, it doesn't really, for some kids, things like that don't shock them. They just kind of jump into action. You teach them something and you made it into a game. Some kids are really scared and they'll cry. And after it's all over, some other kids will just be like, man, I ran down the stuff just like you told me, Dad, or just like you told me, Mom. I ran into that with you. We did such and such. And my other child might be boohooing all day for the next 2 weeks. All right. So kids can be really resilient when it comes to stuff like that. So again, take responsibility for your own protection is not being paranoid. All right. It is the ultimate act of self-reliance and defiance. True safety is not given, it is created. Okay. And I appreciate y'all, man. I hope that this is something that helped you. Put it in the comments. Let me know what stuck out to you the most out of what we was showing you today, or what I was showing you today. What grabbed your attention the most? What is something that you're going to apply? Are you going to do the mental rehearsal? Are you going to do the physical rehearsal with maybe your family, your kids? Are you going to actually go to an actual store and kind of walk through a scenario with your children or by yourself? Are you going to not do any one of those, the mental or the physical rehearsal? Or are you just going to go and say, you know what, I'm going to look up some YouTube videos of real incidents, and I'm just going to, just like a boxer, when they get ready, before they go into a fight, they're going to study their opponent. So are you going to get real videos and study those videos, like what was good that people were doing in the videos, what was bad that they were doing, what could be improved. Put yourself as the person in that video and put yourself where one of the people in the video, the actual real video, where they were at. Okay, what would you do if you was that person in this particular part of the video? What if you was, because on the Bondi Beach, they had the overpass bridge, and the father and son were on top of there, and right behind them, people were running in. There was cars parked there, and they was kind of running in and out from those cars, zigzagging in between cars. Seemed like some of them just kept on kind of staying around the cars, and they were just right behind the shooters. All right, put yourself in that scenario. Would you just be standing there and just running around frantic, or would you run further and further away from those shooters? All right, you might be one of those who just wants to watch videos and study. So let me know in the comments what you would actually do, or which one of those practices or drills would you take? Would you do the mental rehearsal, the physical, or would you study video, or would you do some combination of any of those? All right, and let us know what resonated in this training. All right, let us know what really grabbed your attention. Something I said, something I pointed out. Let me know. All right. And with that being said, I appreciate y'all. And yeah, this was a special one for Norwood University, for those who watch the Norwood University channel and those who watch the self-defense channel, Survive and Protect. All right. I appreciate all of y'all for coming in and watching it. And again, I hope you learned something from it. And let's make 2026 and beyond a better situation if any of you ever have to come into a situation such as a Bondi Beach, or such as the Dollar General shooting. I think one was in Florida a few years back. And then some few years ago, there was Walmart shootings. So, yeah, no matter where you at, hopefully you can take the information from this and apply it, and we'll have less people harmed, less people to attend funerals. All right. So I appreciate it again. And with that being said, I'm out of here. All right. One love, peace. And we'll be back with another training again. Those who specifically watch Norwood University, we're not self-defense. Survive and Protect is a part of Norwood University. It's a division of Norwood University, but it's also its own entity and brand as well. So all the self-defense related videos that we do will be on Survive and Protect. Norwood University is more mindset, strategic, and things like that. Okay. But we had to do this special for both channels because we think it's very important that everybody understands and learns what they can do. All right. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all again. Thank you for watching, and I am out of here. Peace.